for single women that's been abused. Um, I'm always here for you. And I want you to know that you can make it. Don't give up, no matter how it seems or days you have where you're down or you're not understanding. Don't give up. Because I had many days like that. I didn't understand. Um, I didn't know what to do. Um, I felt all alone. I felt like my life wasn't worth anything. I felt like um, I wanted to give up. But I continued on, even through the disappointments, even through down days. I was determined to help somebody. I am so determined to help a young lady um, see her way out or be that shoulder that she can lean on, cry or just talk, explain, whatever. I'm always here. Some days, I sit and I look and I think about what I went through, how I survived it, what I thought, what I felt. And I sit and I say, well, I know some young lady is feeling the same way, is thinking the same way I thought, is feeling the same way that I felt. So I have to continue on to be that listening ear, that woman that will never give up reaching out to women that have been abused. I'm gonna never give up. I will never stop. I'm gonna always be there waiting and saying, I know you can make it. I know there's an escape. It may seem like it because it didn't seem like it to me that there was escape. I didn't see any way out. I just didn't understand how or why or when. And I almost got to the point where um, I said, well, I'm just going to live this way the rest of my life. I'm not even going to try to get out of it. I'm just going to live like this. Um, I'm not going to try to get out. I'm just going to stay in here and whatever he wants, just do it. Or whatever he said, just obey. And I knew that wouldn't have been me. I knew that's not me. I know, we go through those thoughts because I've been through those thoughts. And I know that depression is real. Um, hate is real. Disappointment is real. Frustration is real. It's not something that people just talk to be talking. It's real. It happens. Depression happens. Frustration happens. I was all of it. I had all of it. Every bit of it. Every bit of the frustration. I was frustrated. I was mainly frustrated with myself because I just kept telling myself, I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I'm trying my best. Um, I'm doing things that he wants me to do, and I'm still getting hurt. And you do. You try your best. You do everything he wants you to do. Act every way that he wants you to act, but he still. And I believe, and I believe that there was something in his life that made him that way because no man is born an abuser to abuse women. They are not born that way. They're not unless they see their mother being abused and their father abusing their mother, and their mother just not saying anything and taking it. So that unless they've seen that and that has happened. Yes, I understand why they're abusing the young lady, but it still doesn't make it right. Regardless of what, if it was what you saw your father do, it still didn't make it right. It doesn't make it right, regardless of if you've seen that in your lifetime. If a man seen that in his lifetime, his mother being abused or his sister being abused, and he didn't do anything about it, and that could be something that's set up in his heart that, well, my mom took it, and so this woman should take it. My mom took it. What makes you any different than my mom? So I can understand that part. But if he's never been or seen his mother or his sister or anybody being abused, and then you ask the question, then why are you doing this? And I can't say, I understand why a man abuses a woman. I can't say it. I know that. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I have no idea why. I'm just saying, that maybe they saw this in their lifetime or when they was growing up. I don't know. I don't know why my kid's father abused me. I couldn't tell you. I don't. I have no idea. I didn't sit down and have a conversation with him and say, "Hey, did you see in your lifetime your mother being abused, or did you see somebody being abused? Is that why you're abusing me?" I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that. I couldn't say, "Hey, why are you doing this? What's wrong with you?" I couldn't say that. And you can't say that. You can't ask somebody who's beating you, "Hey, why you beating me?" I know sometimes I laugh. I have to laugh because sometimes when I think about what I went through, sometimes I get down. Yeah, I do. Um, Sometimes I sit and I think, and I say, I don't want another young lady to go through what I went through. I want to reach out to tell them, get out, make a way to get out. It doesn't get any better. I'm the type of woman that I care so much sometimes that um, when I know something is going on, and I know that if I try to intervene, it makes matters worse for the woman that's being abused, because if she's not ready to leave and you intervene, it just makes matters worse. But I don't think when I was being abused, I don't think if anybody was to come, I don't think that I could have talked about it. I don't think I would have listened to them say get out, because um, I felt deep down inside, I felt, I think I loved him in a sense. And I didn't want to leave, but then I wanted to leave. I know it sounds confusing. I know sometimes I say things you say, well, that doesn't make any sense. But if you, like I said, a person who did abuse, they understand what I'm saying. There was days where he couldn't do no evil. Mm-mm. I loved him, but yet was afraid of him. I loved him, but yet sometimes I hated him. I loved him, yet some days I despised him. I loved him, and yet some days I wanted to hurt him. I loved him, but yet some days I wanted to hit him. I loved him. Some days I just wanted to just beat him and stop beating him, but I didn't. That's what kind of power he had over me. That's what kind of um, that's what the type of person I was. You know, I had to be honest. I was weak because I was afraid to stand up because I was afraid that if I stood up for myself, um, he would probably hurt me so severe that I would wind up in the hospital. So I was, walked around on eggshells, walked around being quiet, walked around not wanting to say anything, but every day getting more and more sad, every day being more and more mad. So I understand. I don't question no one's, I don't question a woman who's being abused and say, you know what? I know you can get out of that because I did. So why are you taking so long? I don't do that. Because it took me a while to leave. I didn't just jump up one morning and say, okay, we're out of here. I'm gone. Because I had that fear. And that's the biggest thing that holds and keep a woman's being abused in the situation, fear. Very fearful. You're afraid that if you try to walk out that door, he's going to come after you and he's going to beat you so bad, and then he eventually say, well, you can go now. I don't care. I don't want you. So fear is torment. You live with it. So I understand. You're not going to just get up and say, I'm gone, I'm walking away. And then once you do leave, when I did finally leave, um, I still was fearful. I didn't know if if I would go outside, if he would be outside and come get me and drag me and put me in a car and, take me and beat me and, put me in the house and I'd be too afraid to leave again. I didn't know. I lived in fear, even though I was away from him. Even though I left him, I still lived in fear daily. Even though when I gave my life to the Lord, I still lived in fear because I didn't know if I would go outside, would he be there? If I go to work, would he be waiting for me to get off work? If I just go walking, didn't know if he was hiding behind a tree. I mean, that fear was there. Fear is real. It's torment. And I had a fear of him until when situation when he finally left, but still I had a fear of men. Even though I wasn't in a relationship, I still had a fear of men. They want to be around them. I was uncomfortable when I was around them. So I kept back away from men. Was uncomfortable. Didn't want no one to hug me. Mainly a man. You couldn't come near me. I would always put my hand out. Like, oh nope, nope, because I didn't trust men. I didn't trust them at all. I thought all men were the same, and no, they're not. All men are not the same. You can't put one, they always say one bad apple, if you put that bad apple in a bunch of other apples, eventually all the apples are going to get bad. But I couldn't categorize um, all men like my the man that I went with. I couldn't say, well, this man is just like him. I couldn't say that. I know I felt that way. I felt all men were, dogs. That's what I called them, dogs. And that wasn't right. But I was hurting. And I wasn't hurting nobody but myself when I you know, talked with them myself about men. I wasn't hurting him. I wasn't hurting him at all. Mm-mm. No, I was hurting myself because I was putting myself in in uh, um, in a box, and no one could get into that box. I wasn't gonna let no one in that box. No, this was my space, and you couldn't get in my space because one man hurt me, so all men are going to hurt me, and to prevent all men from hurting me, you're not allowed in my space. That's what I thought. I would look at men like, mm-mm, just look at him. Think he all that because of my hurt. When you're hurt, when you've been hurt, if the hurt is not dealt with, you will always look at men different. So that's why, I'm doing this podcast because I want to let young ladies know I know the feeling of bitterness, anger, frustration, hatred. I know. And I'm not saying it's right to feel that way, but I understand that you're going to feel that way. It's there. And I'm just telling you that you could talk to me. Like I say, my email is bmsstevie@gmail.com. If you ever want to do an interview um, with me, we could do an interview and you could talk and you could tell me and I will listen. And if you don't want no one else to hear it, the interview would just be between me and you. But if you want someone else to listen, they'll hear it. You know, it's like I said, one person's can help another lady. I apologize. One young lady can help another young lady with what she's been through, what she's going through. Another young lady can say, "Well, I went through that." Okay, so this lady said she went through the same thing and she got out of it. Okay, so I'm going to listen to her. I'm going to listen and see what steps she took. Like I always say, you have to take baby steps. You have to take one step at a time. You can't just be on the bottom step and jump all the way to the top. You can't do that. You got to take one step at a time. You can't skip a step. So, well, I'm not going to do that step. Let me do this other step. You got to take one step at a time. To walk up this step, it's got to go up one, up two. You can't go 1, 3, and then 3 to 2, and then 2 to 7. You got to go in order. Step 1. Okay, I need this. I need to get over this here feeling of failure, if that's your first step, or feeling of hatred, if that's your first step. Start that step. Start that baby step. Start getting to the point where I have to talk about this. I have to get this step accomplished. I have to take this step and go from this step to that step. But let me do this step first, finish this step. Always finish the first step first. And then when you know you have accomplished that first step, then you say, okay, it's time for me to take another step. If the first step was, frustration, and you was able to get out of that, you're able to get out of that. And then you look back and say, okay. And then you write down your steps and you cross out, okay, I accomplished that step. Now my next step is being sad or being worried or being frustrated, whatever your next step is. Take after that first step is done, go to the second step. I mean, don't get upset if it takes you a little bit of time to finish the first step. It took me time to finish the first step. I'm still healing. It's a process of me continue talking and expressing how I feel for healing, because if I don't express it, if I don't talk about it, that situation has a scab over it. And even though the scab is over it, it's still that there, what you're going through is under that scab. So you got to, you know, peel that scab away, to get to that hurt or get to that frustration, or get to that whatever it is, and realize I can do this, and take it step by step. But I'm here to let you know that you can get out of this here abusive relationship, because I did. I was in it for 11 years, but I'm out. I got out. So I'm just here to let you know you can get out, So trust, trust yourself, believe in yourself. And like I said, God loves you and so do I. And be encouraged. It's just one step at a time, baby steps, but you will succeed in being a better person. You will succeed in being a survivor, because I'm a survivor. Thank you for your time and listening to me. I know it might have been a little bit long, but I just like to just sometimes just sit and talk about things that I've been through, and rehearse it and talk about it, to let you know I know I've been there. So have a great day and thank you for taking time and listening.